Hello and welcome to a wet Mulcahy Stadium for a doubleheader between the Anchorage Bucs and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Massey, and the Mayor's Cup is already in the Bucs' hands, but still looking for the sweep in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Would just be the third three-game sweep for the Bucs in Mayor's Cup history, and then also looking for a sweep in this doubleheader as we look towards Game 2 after this one. For the Pilots' second doubleheader in as many days. Unfortunately for the Bucs, the Pilots lost both games yesterday to the Miners, bringing that win streak to 10 games and the lead for the Bucs to just one game atop the ABL standings. And because of that, there's really not a lot of room for error as we wind down the last week of the season and even looking at this doubleheader today.
Yeah, well, there is no reason for the Bucks to be looking at the Miners and what they're doing in any sort of instance at all. The Bucks need to play their side of baseball. They don't need to worry about the Miners. Miners have won 10 straight. They are doing really well. But trust me, we will see the Miners. We'll see them twice before this season ends. We will not see the Oilers anymore. We're going to see the Chinooks. We're going to see the Pilots for two games today. So the Bucks just really need to take care of business versus a struggling Pilots team, and then tomorrow versus a struggling Chinooks team. But not getting too ahead of myself, focusing on today, a doubleheader sweep is much needed. The Miners have looked incredible. Not sure how many times they're going to face the Oilers before the end of the season, but I'm sure it's not many times at all. They're probably going to face the Chinooks and the Pilots a handful of times. So for the Bucks, like I said, they really need to focus on this Pilots team, who they've done really well against, and they've only lost two games. The last time the Bucks lost against the Pilots was on June 18th. That was a 3-2 loss. After that, five straight wins. After the first time they lost to the Pilots, five straight wins. They're on a three-game win streak right now. The Bucks are, and they're 3-1 when going and trying to get that fourth win streak in a row. And the last time that they lost, that was against the Chinooks, 10-4 loss, trying to go for four in a row. And I don't see a 10-4 game happening today.
Yeah, and for the Bucs, like you talked about, it's been a really good season against these rival Pilots. 6-2, 8-2-1 if you count July 4th, as well as the Scout Showcase. So it's been a really successful season against the rivals, and looking to keep that going. We've got a bit of an interesting pitching matchup with a somewhat surprise starter for the Bucs, as well as a starter for the Pilots who hasn't fared the best against the Bucs. We'll get into them as well as the lineups when we come back. Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Mapsey. The last day that these two teams will play in league play this season, although as things currently stand, they would match up for the first round of the ABL playoffs. The Pilots will be the home team for both of these games of this doubleheader, the first of which a makeup from what was supposed to be game 3 of the Mayor's Cup and still is, but doesn't feel quite the same amount of pressure now that the Bucs took care of things just a couple of days ago. Pitching for the Bucs and making his first start of the season. It'll be Jeremiah Arnett. He has 14 appearances in league play, 5-0 with one save, and in 23 innings, he has a 2.74 ERA. 21 strikeouts to just 5 walks in those 7 earned runs. His last start comes back for Wichita State this season in April. That was April 9th against Oklahoma State. Unfortunately, only went an inning and a third, giving up 2 earned runs. So he'll look for better luck in his first start for the Bucs so far this season. His last time out was out of the pen on Monday in that 2-0 win against the Oilers. He went 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and 1 walk, getting the win in relief. And against the Pilots, he's played in 3 games in league play, an inning each time and no runs each time. Great stuff. And then also on July 4th against the Pilots, he came in the sixth and final inning of game 2 with runners on first and third and no outs with a slim 2-run lead. Neither of those inherited runners scored. He picked up the save and clinched that sweep for the Bucs as they look for another sweep here, and they'll have to start in game 1 against Braden Rush.
Yeah, Braden Rush has started 3 games for the Glacier Pilots. He is in his fifth appearance so far, 1-0, 15 innings pitched, 11 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned, good enough for a 3.00 ERA. And those 5 runs all coming in one outing, and that was, of course, against this very Bucks team all the way back on June 21st. 3 innings pitched, 4 hits given up, and those 5 earned runs. But besides that, he has been very sharp. It's just given up the 1 run, but it was unearned. That was late June against the Matsu Miners, June 28th, where he gave up that run. Or I shouldn't say he gave up that run, but the team gave up that run. Besides that, just the 5 earned runs, all coming against the Bucks. In his last start, he's only pitched 1 time in July, which I found was pretty interesting. He has pitched twice if you do count that non-league 4th of July game. But in his one outing, July 20th, almost a week ago, 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs. Once again, pretty sharp. Uh, had going back to that game, he had 4 strikeouts in that outing against the Chinooks. Remind you, that is his first and only outing in league play in July. So I'll be interested to see what he has in store for the Bucks, who, like I said, has struggled against in those 3 innings he pitched. Did not get the loss in that game, but the Glacier Pilots, did lose 6-5 in that outing, and he'll be facing a Bucks lineup that looks a little bit differently for the first game of this doubleheader. They'll start it off with Josh Hankins, who's been leading it off more as of late. He'll play at shortstop in game 1. Oh, excuse me. That's in game 2. I apologize. Already sneak peeking for you guys the game 2. But game 1, Josh Hankins will also lead it off, but this time he will play at third base. Cole Carlone will follow in suit, and he'll be the designated hitter, batting second. In the 3-hole, Andrew Lamb will play in right field, batting fourth. The cleanup batter, Tommy Eisenstadt, will play at first. The catcher, Brody Briggs, will bat 5. Max Ross will roam in center field, and he'll bat 6. The 7-hole batter, Brett Castillo, will play in left field. Rob Vandegrift, getting his first start, will be the 8-hole batter and play at second base, and Will Burns will play at short and bat ninth. Once again, for the visiting Bucks, been a first time since I've said that in a long time. Hankins, Carlone, Lamb, Eisenstadt, Briggs, Ross, Castillo, Vandegrift, and Burns. And as for the home Glacier Pilots, they'll start it off with their normal leadoff hitter, Dylan Marks, and he'll play second base. Luke Hefner will follow, bat second, and play at short. The center fielder, Luke Stolga, will bat third. Junior Barajas is their cleanup batter, and he'll be the DH like normal. Chase Knight, also like normal, will play at third base and bat fifth. Jake Dodge will be the first baseman and hit sixth. The 7-hole batter, Jacob Coes, will play in left field. Jack Dorn will play in right and bat eighth. Bo Rico will round out the order like usual. The 9-hole batter will be behind the plate, catching up their starter, Braden Rush. Once again, for the Glacier Pilots, Marks, Hefner, Stolga, Barajas, Knight, and Dodge. Coes, Dorn, and Rico, all behind their starting pitcher, Braden Rush. Like I said, in his fifth appearance, has started 3 games for the Glacier Pilots. A lot of their starters have started just 3 games. That includes Drew Welk, Peyton Allen, who we saw just the other day, Zawistowski as well. Tyler Stewart and David Hefner, their 2 big starters. 7 starts for them, 6 starts for Hefner. That seven was for Tyler Stewart. But the Bucs looking to get going, looking to take a crack early at these Glacier Pilots. It's another cloudy day. It's been like that for at least all of July. If I can remember, just a couple of really sunny days, at least really sunny days for when we've played baseball. And I'm more interested to see today how Jeremiah Arnett will fare against this Pilots team. Arnett has just that one bad outing where he gave up 5 runs, but besides that, has looked really sharp for the Bucs this whole year. So we're a little bit behind, it looks like, on announcing these players and getting them out on the field. Not sure why, but also it could be a 4:10 start for this first game. We were notified that it was 4 o'clock, so would not be sure about that. The second game is set for 6:10, so stick with us. We remind you that both of these games are 7-inning doubleheaders, so it is not long at all. And if you saw how our games have been going the last couple of weeks, they've been 2 hours, 2 hours 15. I think the longest one has been maybe 2.5 hours. But the Bucs have been getting it done really, really quickly. So for a 7-inning doubleheader, we can expect the same, and especially like a guy like Jeremiah Arnett, who has looked really, really sharp for the Bucs. Will told you a little bit about him, and I'll just emphasize those stats once again. This is his 15th appearance, but his first start. Everything else has been out of the bullpen. And remind you, 5 of those 7 earned runs came in one outing where he just really faltered. But besides that, has looked really good. 23 innings pitched, 24 hits, but just the 7 earned runs. And every time he goes out, it seems like his ERA just keeps going lower and lower. Which is really good to see out of him. And a guy like Rush has not pitched that much this whole entire season, given that he's only pitched twice in July, but one of them was a non-league game, which doesn't go towards the stats. So for us, you've got a guy in Jeremiah Arnett who hasn't started a game before, but yet has almost 10 more innings than a guy like Braden Rush. So we'll be interested to see what's in store for both of these starting pitchers. And I remind you again, 7 innings. So it is a shorter game altogether. We could see Arnett and Rush go for a little pitcher's duel here. The Bucks bats have been a little bit quiet, we remind you, in the month of July. Couple of shutouts against the Miners, not in favor of the Bucks, have already happened. 2-0, or excuse me, 1-0, back-to-back 1-0 games versus the Miners. These past 3 games, the Bucks bats have definitely started to heat up bit by bit. A 2-0 win against the Oilers, and then the 6-0 win against the Chinooks saw the Bucks score in 5 different innings, and that was really, really nice to see. And then a 5-1, 4-1 win against the Glacier Pilots just 2 nights ago. But the only issue with that, all 4 runs came in the 8th inning, and I guess that is no issue. We'd rather see that than all 4 runs coming in the first and then having to hold on. But of course, goose eggs up until the 8th inning is certainly not what Coach Springman and the Bucks offense wants to do. And hopefully, against a guy like Braden Rush, will exploit the fact that he has not pitched in a lot of games this month. So hopefully, the Bucks will come out and put a big spot batting first, batting leadoff. The first team to bat in the first inning, and the Bucks, like I said, have one game all the way back July 12th. That was the first game of the Mayor's Cup. That's the last time I can remember the Bucks batting first in a game. But besides that, the Bucks have been batting last in the first inning, so we'll hope that this is a new change of scenery will help this Bucks team. But first, we'll play the national anthem and we'll walk you right up to first pitch.
Let's play ball.
Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium. Just a couple of minutes away from first pitch, a little bit after 4 o'clock. The rain started misting again, and we thought we were done with that by about game time, and actually about 30 minutes before game time, it stopped raining. But maybe it's starting back up again. Hopefully, it's just a little bit of a miss. The Bucs will be facing off against the lefty Braden Rush, and I really forgot to emphasize that he is a lefty on the hill because the Bucs, of course, have a heavy-hitting lefty lineup of in today's game: Carlone, Lamb, Eisenstadt, Briggs, Ross, and that's it. So definitely an influx of righty batters in the order today. Will Burns, Vandegrift, Castillo, and Josh Hankins. So 4 out of the 9 batters are right-handers, and you might say that that is not a lot, but for this Bucks lineup, who usually rolls with, I'd say, 7 out of the 9 batters being left-handed, it's definitely a little bit of a change, and probably because Rush is a lefty on the hill, just want to work with the splits a little bit. But the Bucks batters can really hit anyone, and it doesn't matter if they're lefty or righty. Also, just because it's a doubleheader, want to give some guys some rest. Who we won't see in today's game, Ryan Callahan, we usually see almost in every single game for the Bucks. Also, won't see Adam Inyart. We see him every, now and again, I would say, but definitely has the ability to go out there and hit for the Bucks, and has the ability to go out there and pitch as well. So want to use him sparingly and don't want to get him too burnt out. Will Burns batting last in the order again. We talked to you about his struggles at the dish, and just hopefully he can break out of his funk heading into the postseason. He would be great to have in the order, his hot bat going into the postseason, but just as of late, just been struggling. So hopefully that 9-hole spot will start to warm up for him a little bit. And Vandegrift getting a start, this first start of ABL play. Had a chance to have some dinner with him. Had a sit-down dinner with him, and he's a very nice guy. Really good to talk to, and obviously coming all this way on short notice. Props to him, and excited to see what he can do. But first, Josh Hankins, and on the mound, Braden Rush, and bringing you the play-by-play of the first game is Will Hopkins.
Appreciate it, Vic. Hankins, Carlone, and Lamb here in the visiting half of the first inning at Mulcahy Stadium. Braden Rush, the lefty, number 22, delivers the first pitch, and it's a strike on the inside corner just before 4:04 p.m. Alaska time. Game time temperature about 60 degrees here in Anchorage. The lefty Rush delivers his second pitch, which is hit high in the air the other way, but Jack Dorn has a read on it. No, he dropped the ball. Josh Hankins is rounding first. He's headed for second. A big turnaround there, and he's going to stop a super awkward play over there. Dorn seemed to have control, and then he kind of turned around towards the line and seemed to have control yet again, and then not sure if the ball hit his glove or not, but it dropped on the ground, and the leadoff man's at second base.
So did it drop in fair territory?
It did drop in fair territory. I'm not sure if it hit his glove first or not.
I don't have a view over there, and just because I don't have a view and the the ball off of the bat of Josh Hankins, I just expected it to be an out. So a huge break for the Bucks, and now a chance to take advantage.
And that was ruled as a double. The Pilots scoring this game. First pitch strike to Carlone. It's Dorn over there in right, Stolga in center, Coes in left, Dodge, Marks, Hefner, and Knight across the infield from first to third, and Bo Rico catching for Braden Rush. Ahead 0-1 to Carlone, and now the count evens. Seemed like a lazy fly ball is hit pretty high, maybe a little bit further than Dorn expected, but still a play that he'd expect to make, and even though he's not charged with the error, definitely a mishap defensively early for these Pilots. 2 balls and a strike now.
Wonder if that ball just kept hailing away from Dorn, and I don't really have a good view of that, so I didn't see, but it looked like off the bat it should be a very catchable ball.
Would love to see the Bucks make the Pilots pay. Carlone slaps this foul.
Hankins wanted to go to third, but that ball just a little too shallow out in the outfield. And of course, wasn't hit super hard, so it didn't get past Dorn at all. Would have taken a lot for Hankins to take third base.
Don't want to make the first out at third. 2-2. Breaking ball too far outside, so count is full to Carlone. First base is open, but I'm sure Rush would not want to let the first 2 guys reach. Walks have plagued Braden Rush. Pitched against the Bucks on July 4th in game 1 of that doubleheader. 7 walks in 3 innings. And here's his first walk in game 1 of this doubleheader. It was 7 walks, 7 earned runs, 6 hits in that Bucks 8-1 win in game 1 on July 4th, and now a double and a walk. Unlucky to have that double to his name, but a double and a walk to start. Hankins and Carlone, and now Andrew Lamb up to the plate.
Yeah, and this is a game where you like to score early and just keep adding on bit by bit.
Lamb shows bunt, and this one's in the air, luckily foul, and I think it may have Kind of a little too close to his hand for his liking as well.
Yeah, you're always kind of taught to really keep that bat out there and let the bat almost guide the ball to where it's supposed to go. And it seemed like that ball had a little bit of extra on it and kind of blew Andrew Lamb back. He was trying to guide it down that third base line. And for that, you're supposed to kind of angle it a little bit so you bring it back towards your body. I think he brought it back just a bit too far, and that's why it was popped up foul.
Lamb hitting an even 250 in 76 at bats, tied for the lead in RBIs with the man at first, Cole Carlone. A chance to break that tie here. We've seen those two kind of going back and forth the last couple of weeks now in terms of the team lead in RBIs. It's really incredible how many players contribute on this team. 6 players between 10 and 13 RBIs. Corners are in, middle infield is not, as Lamb takes a strike and now finds himself in a bit of a hole 0-2.
Yeah, just got to choke up here. You got a huge hole between third and short. Try to guide one through that hole. That'd be great.
Between July 4th and June 21st, Lamb 0 for 2 with 2 walks against Braden Rush. And does a good job to hold up. Runners will stay put. Carlone thought about going, and when he saw Hankins wasn't going, had to retreat back to first.
Yeah, a rare mistake by Hankins. Definitely would have liked to take third base on that one. Seen balls that get away even less than that. Hankins takes third, and I think just second guessed himself, but a good decision going back and not ending up in the middle of second and third, and same with Carlone.
Bucs looking to strike first here in the first inning. And instead, Lamb strikes out. Good job by Rush to battle back after the first 2 guys reaching.
And that breaking ball is going to be really tough for lefty hitters all day. It seems like that ball really comes in, and it's got a lot of horizontal break. It's also got some vertical movement, too. So Bucs hitters are going to see that ball early and make sure that they're not backing out of the plate because they could definitely fall into the strike zone.
A little chat between Rico and Rush after Lamb's strikeout. Tommy Eisenstadt to the plate. Was not in the lineup on June 21st when Rush started. Was in the lineup in Game 1 on July 4th. A strikeout looking in a single for Eisenstadt. He takes ball 1.
Eisenstadt picked up an RBI in the game 2 days ago against the Glacier Pilots. Did not record a hit, though.
Hankins at second, Carlone at first. As this is fouled off. That RBI from Eisenstadt a couple of days ago coming on a fielder's choice. Part of a 4-run 8th inning. Pilots scored 1 in the top of the 7th. Things were looking gloom and doom for the Bucs until they weren't. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Hankins breaks for third, swing and a miss, and he's going to slide in there.
Good job by Eisenstadt. Not sure if that was a hit run or just swung to protect Hankins. The Bucs have a runner in scoring position, and now, a runner 90 feet away. Only difficult thing is 2 strikes on Eisenstadt.
Yep. We talked about a fielder's choice for an RBI. That's a possibility now with a runner at third.
Just want to avoid hitting it to the middle infield, especially hitting it sharply.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, a second consecutive swinging strikeout, and these Bucs struggling with that breaking ball so far.
Yeah, the lefty rush, it makes it really tough for lefty batters to get a piece of that baseball. It's tailing away from them. It's a traditional righty curveball to a righty batter, but this is the total opposite, lefty curveball to a lefty batter, and in many facets, it's honestly harder than the other way around.
So now the catcher, Brody Briggs, up to 7th in the ABL in batting average at .263. A hit would score a run for the Bucs as he takes a strike, and it seems like Rush is really going to that breaking ball often.
Yeah, and why not? The Bucs have struggled to hit it in the first 2 at-bats, so maybe see if you can, if you're Briggs, just see if you could time one up a little bit. Probably going to be an uncomfortable swing.
No balls and a strike, 18th pitch for Rush. Delayed steal from Carlone, and it looked like Rico was trying to throw that ball down, and Rush just caught it.
And probably the best decision because you've got a guy in Hankins over there who's very aware at third base. And not that he made a huge mistake not going on that last, I wouldn't say pass ball, but the last dribbler that got away from Bo Rico. He definitely wants to take advantage on the base pass. And if they throw that ball all the way down there, I wouldn't be surprised if Hankins starts home.
So now a single could score 2 for the Bucs. Top of the first inning, Game 3 of the Mayor's Cup. Pitches outside. When Rush has missed so far, that's been the miss.
Yeah, not a ton of those breaking balls, or at least the ones that Eisenstadt and Lamb struck out on. They didn't really look like strikes. If they were bare deep on the outside part of the plate. Maybe just start to spin on them, see if he can locate one.
2-1. This is the heater, too high. And now 3-1. First base is open, and now a steal home! Josh Hankins just stole home plate!
Look at that. Yeah, he noticed that Bo Rico was kind of lobbing it to Rush. Rush is also a lefty, so he has his back turned around towards third base in the Bucs dugout. Absolutely loving that.
How could you not? You don't get to see a steal of home plate very often, and Hankins provides it.
Yeah, he even looked back Hankins a little bit, and once
What
he
a
tossed it,
heads-up play. Briggs walks, but can't get over that play from Hankins.
No, absolutely. Great job. And he's probably telling himself, he probably thinks that dribbler that he didn't go to third on is a much bigger mistake. And it really wasn't a mistake at all, but he's probably wanting to make up for it, and that's his version of making up for it, and I can't think of any better way to do so.
Didn't have that one on my bingo card, but it's checked off in the first inning for those of you who did, as Max Ross takes a strike.
Oh, my goodness. And what a nonchalant and bloop throw by Bo Rico. I'm not sure if he's been doing that the whole game, but they had no chance at getting Hankins.
No balls, one strike, and the breaking ball's too far outside. In fairness to Rico, most of the time you could get away with that if you don't have such a heads-up base runner.
Yeah.
Hankins is certainly heads up, though.
And once out of the chute, Hankins broke, and he was sliding to home plate by the time Rush got his hands on it.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Max Ross. Josh Hankins, the leadoff man, providing the first run with a double, and then a stolen base and another stolen base coming all the way around to home as Max Ross waits on the breaking ball and fouls it off.
Yeah, I still think the craziest thing about that is that Bo Rico gave Hankins a look and then tossed it, and that didn't even scare Hankins one bit. He went anyway.
That's inside, and Rico has trouble gathering it, or it actually hit Max Ross. That explains why Rico couldn't catch it, and that loads the bases for the Bucs.
Good job by Ross. Didn't move those fingers out of the way, and you're always taught to stay in the box and try not to move and let that ball hit you, but your fingers are one of the toughest parts, I would think, to not pull back on.
Especially for him, given his thumb injury.
Yeah, exactly, but I love that. Puts his body on the line for the team, and now base is loaded.
Bases are loaded. Brett Castillo, haven't seen him in the lineup in quite some time. Here's a chance to make an immediate statement. He takes a strike on the top part of the zone.
Yeah, Castillo coming into this game, he just has 15 at-bats and 2 base hits. Driven in 4 runs, though, so he's made them count. Another chance to do that right here.
Definitely another chance. Bases
7
are loaded.
walks. 7 walks for Castillo, just 3 strikeouts. So you got a guy that has made his 2 hits really worth it and can also get on base with a really good eye.
Last at bat, July 9th. And now he tips this one. Seen him used as a pitcher some. Actually, the only Bucs pitcher with an ERA of 0.
Yeah.
Obviously, nowhere near enough innings to qualify for that league leaderboard, but has not allowed a run. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Castillo, and good eye. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Deuces wild, game 1 of this 2-gamer. Friday afternoon in Anchorage, Alaska. Josh Hankins stealing home. And now Carlone at third, Briggs at second, Ross at first. Rush has thrown 30 pitches. His 31st is no good, and now a ball away from giving the Bucs run number 2.
Yeah, and for the Bucs, definitely had some issues with leaving guys on. 16 a couple of games ago, 7 2 days ago, which seems like a very reasonable number, even though that 7 is still a very high one.
3-2. Hit hard into center field, and that's going to get down for a base hit. Cole Carlone scores. Brody Briggs is rounding third. He's going to come home. Into third base goes Max Ross. It's a 2 RBI single. The Bucs lead it 3-0.
How about that? Brett Castillo, 3 base hits in just 16 at-bats now, and he's driven in, get this, 6 RBIs and 3 hits. I'd love to see that. And Castillo also with 7 walks, so a guy that has a really big plate discipline, but he's made his minimal at-bats all worth it.
100% has hit that ball well as Robert Vandergrift fouls off the first pitch. Vandergrift out of Ottawa University in Arizona, where we know Coach Montez from. And Good job by Max Ross getting over to third as well. Now just 90 feet away.
Yep. Ball was hit to center field, but pretty hard, and getting to third is pretty difficult because a lot of times that ball will be keyed into third. Briggs is probably going to score easily. Of course, Carlone scores easily.
Benefit was everyone going on the pitch with 3-2, 2 outs. Sky towards first. Jake Dodge has this one on the edge of fair and foul territory. They say it's fair territory, but the Bucs get 3 before the Pilots get 3 outs. It's 3-0 as we head to the Pilots batting in the first. Welcome back for the bottom of the first after an eventful top of the first. Bucs plating 3 runs, so now Jeremiah Arnett takes the mound for his first start of the season with 3 runs to his team's name. Game 3 of the Mayor's Cup. See someone in the comment section asking if the Mayor's here. Not received word that Suzanne LaFrance would be here. Didn't see her honored. Saw someone, the police chief, throw out the first pitch in Game 1 of this Mayor's Cup. Is Arnett's first pitch cut on and missed by Dylan Marks. So I haven't received word on that. She was not here yesterday to award the trophy. That was done by the Pilots ball boy coming over to the Bucs dugout. That one's just a bit outside.
What if they held her hostage in the clubhouse? Pilots did.
I don't know about all that. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's too far outside.
Well, they were gatekeeping that trophy.
Yeah, wanted her to rig the game for them maybe. 6'4", 225 out of Waco, Texas, Jeremiah Arnett. Rocket number 34, and Marks hits this one way up in the air. Josh Hankins scattering all over the place and then getting under it, and there's the first out. Looks like this wind is really playing tricks on some of these guys.
Yeah, that was one of the highest balls I've seen hit in the ABL. To be totally fair with you, Will, that one was hit like a bottle rocket up in the air, and I honestly was about to say mid while it was up in the air, I wouldn't even blame Josh Hankins if he had a misread on it, because that thing was doing tricks in the air with the wind coming in, blowing directly in from left.
So now Luke Hefner Jr., he takes a strike. We saw Jack Dorn with problems in the wind with the first batter of the game. That's how Hankins got aboard, and we sure are glad he did. Off the hands, not going to get to the outfield as Will Burns makes the play, and 2 super quick outs for Arnett on weak contact.
This is perfect. This is exactly what you want if you're Arnett. I wouldn't say that Arnett's the biggest strikeout guy. We have seen spurts of him really having that stuff and has the ability to get guys out via the strikeout, but a guy that can pitch 2-3 innings at a time coming out of the bullpen has that ability to manufacture outs in really quick ways, and these 2 quick pop-ups are great examples of that.
His last time out, he did go those 3 innings. That his second longest appearance of the year, the other one going 3 1/3, and now a strike away from ending this first inning rather quickly. Only 8 pitches so far, so big for the Bucs to see how far Arnett can go. Bucs, this is the first of 9 games in 7 days. The 0-2. In the air to left, shallow left. Castillo going to have to come on, or will it be Will Burns? It's Burns yet again for the second time this inning. 3 pop-ups on the left side and no runs, no hits, no errors. The Pirates put a 0 on the board. Bucs bats are back to the plate. Not much rest for Braden Rush. 35 pitches in the top of the first, and then Arnett 1, 2, 3, 9 pitches in the bottom half. So Rush back up with 9-1-2 due up for the Bucs here in Game 3 of the Mayor's Cup. The Bucs have already taken the first 2, and with that, earning the trophy. It was great to see the team celebrate the win a couple of days ago. Getting some photos from Stephanie, who we talked about, posing for a team photo with that Mayor's Cup, and each and every year the winner engraved on that. So 2024 will forever say Anchorage Bucs as opposed to Anchorage Glacier Pilots, just the way we want to see it. And now back to this one in Game 3. It's 9-1-2 as Will Burns puts a great swing on that one. That's deep to left. Coase is backing up and makes the play just shy of the track, but Burns really squared that up.
Yeah, I thought that he had one there, and I'm guessing that it was just hit too far on the line and kind of got caught by the wind and just sent it straight down. If he gets a little bit more of a launch angle, gets that ball in the air, I think that he might have a home run.
Unfortunate for Burns, who just can't seem to catch a ton of breaks right now. Back to the top, Josh Hankins, who got the party started in the first. He takes a strike. Hit a ball high in the air to right field. Not home run distance. Jack Dorn struggled with it in the wind. Hankins at second base. The play was ruled a double. Later stole third and later stole home, catching Bo Rico sleeping. 0-1 way inside, and we were talking during the break. We watched that steal back, and it's just incredible because Rico looked at Hankins, and I think Hankins realized, well, if he looks at me once, he's probably not going to look at me twice, and right when Rico went to make the throw, Hankins was gone.
That's just a really great awareness, and I love that by Hankins, is always causing a havoc on the base pass and making it really tough for both the pitcher and the catcher.
Really a tough player to play against. Not only does he hit the ball all over the place, but gobbles up some would-be hits over there at third. Starting at third here in Game 1, we've seen him work some at short. Earlier in the season, some second base. In a good spot, 3 balls and 1 strike. Swings at it, hits it on a line to center, and it curves right into the glove of Luke Stolga.
Yeah, I like the approach going up the middle there for Hankins. Just got under it just a tad.
It was really cool from this angle to see that ball. You could really see how it started to the left from our vantage point and your vantage point of Luke Stolga, but Stolga playing it knowing that off that right-handed bat it was going to slice right into his mitt. So now Cole Carlone, a much better start to this inning for Rush than the first. Carlone trying to spoil the 1-2-3. He walked and scored in the first. And we talked about it. Walks have plagued Braden Rush. 11 walks in 15 innings, as that pitch is called a strike, but not included in those stats is 7 walks in 3 innings against the Bucs on July 4th. Had 5 walks in 3 innings against the Bucs on June 21st. That was a league game. Gets Carlone looking a little bit uncomfortable there.
Yeah, it's that breaking ball. It's still looking pretty good. He's looking at a little bit better, and the Bucs are having trouble being able to take the pitch because they're strikes.
This one isn't, so 2 balls and 2 strikes to Carlone with 2 away in the second inning. Deuce is wild yet again. Andrew Lamb waiting on deck. Carlone hoping to give him a chance here in the second frame. Carlone off the hands, a slow roller to third. Chase Knight gloves it and makes a strong throw. Rush bounces back after the 3-run first with a 1-2-3 second, so we head to the bottom of this inning. First half inning took a little while, but the bottom of the first and the top of the second, 3 up, 3 down for each pitcher. Jeremiah Arnett back on the mound for his second inning, just 9 pitches in the first. Looked really sharp, some weak fly balls to Josh Hankins and Will Burns. Facing Barajas, Knight, and Dodge, and his first pitch almost hit Barajas. Bucs looking to sweep the Mayor's Cup and set themselves up to sweep this doubleheader. Breaking ball on the inside corner. Barajas takes it for a strike.
Jeremiah Arnett, the league leader in wins with 5, so he knows how to win a ball game, and he's already in great shape to do so.
1-1 rocket on the ground. Just foul of first base, luckily. Had extra bases written all over it if not for being foul. And for Arnett, he has the most innings pitched of any Bucs reliever. That's what you're going to get with 14 appearances out of the pen, and a good number of them more than just 1 inning.
Yep, couple 3 innings.
1 ball, 2 strikes, swing and a miss. There's Arnett's first strikeout in the first out of the bottom of the second, excuse me.
Yeah, and Arnett has got that stuff, like I said, but he's also really good at having quick at-bats, and he did that in the first 3 at-bats back in the first inning, and that strikeout was even pretty quick too, but just want to limit the pitch count, see how long he could go.
So now Chase Knight, who retired Cole Carlone to end the visiting half of this inning. He started with a ball. 46 pitches for Braden Rush. Now this just the 15th for Jeremiah Arnett. And the Pilots playing a doubleheader for the second time in as many days, but did a really good job yesterday, even though they lost both games as Knight fouls this one away by a combined score of 11-0. Definitely not what you'd want to see, considering how poorly things went on the scoreboard for the Pilots and managed the pitching staff really well. Max Zawistowski pitched all 7 innings in the first game, and then David Hefner and Jake Dodge pitching together the 7 innings in game 2. Or excuse me, that was game 1. Game 2 was Zawistowski, but regardless, that's just 3 pitchers in 14 innings of baseball.
Yeah, really just want to get Rush out of the game as quick as possible.
The new Buck, Rob Vandergrift. A little bit of a throw off the bag. Eisenstadt able to clean it up, though.
And for Arnett, his most amount of pitches in a game is 45. That came against the Oilers all the way back in June. That was June 10th, 3 1/3 innings, 45 total pitches. So definitely has the ability to go near 50, and I'm sure 45 is not his max at all.
Should be decently well rested. Pitched on Monday. Didn't go quite starters pitches, so now 3 days rest as opposed to the 4 that you'd see in the MLB. Bucs usually go in with 5 or 6, and Jake Dodge can't catch up to the fastball. Dodge with a big swing there. A lot of these players, especially on the Bucs, we talk about going all over the field with it. Dodge not really one of those guys. Looking at the spray chart, a lot of balls on the right side, and there's another one on the right side, but he ropes it for a base hit. First hit and first base runner for the Pilots. No 1-2-3 in the second inning for Jeremiah Arnett, so he'll have to face Jacob Coes.
As long as they're singles, that's okay. The extra base hit barrage a couple of days ago was a little bit concerning.
5 hits, 4 doubles?
Yeah.
This is a Pilots team that's really struggled to score runs over the past week or so.
Now over 20 pitches, and I know we keep harping on that, but still, with a 7-inning game, doubleheader, and a bunch of games coming up after this, you want to give Arnett as long as he can go.
Liner over Will Burns. That's going to be a second consecutive hit. Jake Dodge is making the turn. He's headed for third and will be in there without a throw, and now with 2 outs, runners on the corners.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Arnett, but at least he's got the 2 outs, and he should know that he's still just 1 pitch away, and he's been quick at bats and quick base hits from the Pilots, so it's not like he's wasting a lot and having to exert a lot of energy, but now just try to focus on getting that first pitch out by Coes.
And Arnett, not a guy that should be rattled by this situation. Like I mentioned, July 4th in the 6th and final inning of Game 2, came in with first and third and nobody out, and neither of those runners came around to score, so definitely doesn't panic with runners on. Good move over to first. And talking about the Pilots struggling to score runs, no runs in that doubleheader. 1 run against the Bucs on Wednesday and 1 run against the Oilers on Tuesday. First pitch is high, so just 2 runs over the last 4 games. Now 2 of those games were 7 innings, but still not a high tally at all. Had a stretch in the earlier part of the month where they went 8 runs, 11 runs, 4 runs, but other than that, just a bunch of 0s, 1s, and 2s this month. Actually, every other game is a 0, 1, or 2, other than that stretch winning 1 against the Oilers and 2 against the Miners.
Looks like he's really focused on that runner in Coes.
1 ball, no strikes to Dorn. Arnett does come home with it this time, and a good fastball located up and in.
Now I just want to fill up the zone, make it tough for Dorn, and make him feel like he has to put something in play.
Now the 1-1. This time looking to the outer part of the plate, can't get the call. We mentioned Vandergrift at second, Burns is at short, Hankins at third with Eisenstadt at first, Lamb, Ross, and Castillo from right to left. Arnett throwing his tosses to Brody Briggs as a low throw. Eisenstadt able to block it. Hoping to retire Dorn and see Rico in the third. Bucs scoring 3 runs in the first. No runs for either side since. Hoping to keep it that way. 2-1. Sawed off, but this might find a spot in left field, and it's going to in front of a diving Max Ross. It gets past him and over to Castillo. Dodge scores easily. Over to third, and now coming home. The throw from Burns is a beauty. Bucs got him. Jacob Coes tried to 10th Will Burns, and that was a mistake.
It sure was, and great throw out there by Burns, and hesitation from Rich Price. He saw Brett Castillo bobble the ball a little bit and still thought it was the best decision to send him home, but I thought they should have kept him at third base all day. And Price just showing you that they definitely want to get as many runs as they can.
Well, as many as they can is just 1 because of that decision. Great stuff from Will Burns. We head back to the Bucs at the plate when we come back. back here for the third inning. Andrew Lamb, Tommy Eisenstadt, and Brody Briggs. And how about that relay? Castillo to Burns single to start this top of the third. Great job by Andrew Lamb cutting me off with a base hit. But like I was saying, great relay execution. Castillo to Burns to Briggs.
Yeah, it sure was, and I'm just surprised that Price still sent Coase around third base. At first, he was sending him no matter what, which probably would have resulted in a run. Coase would have never stopped around third base, and he probably would have scored because that was before the bobble out and left by Castillo. But then Price didn't see the bobble yet, tried to hold up Coase, and then saw the bobble from Castillo.
Tommy Eisenstadt squares this one up. Unfortunately, going to get caught up in the air, though. Much easier play from Jack Dorn than we saw in the first. He threw back, and luckily Lamb in safely, as Lamb has a word or two for Dorn, who almost got him sleeping.
Sure did. But going back to that play, Price, the third base coach, the head coach for the Pilots, saw Castillo bobble and changed his mind and wanted to send Coase, and I think he expected a bigger bobble out and left than it actually was. Castillo fired a good one into Will Burns, and Burns had a really good shot at getting Coase coming around from third base, and Price, probably his fault on that, and probably wished he had not hesitated in the first place. If he had sent him all the way along, Coase would have never stopped and probably be a 3-2 ball game.
So now Brody Briggs, who applied the tag, fouls off a breaking ball. Andrew Lamb over there at first, 3 for 4 in stolen base attempts in league play. Feels like he's run more than that.
Yeah. Well, he's an extra, all those extra base hits. He's already on second base a lot of times.
That's a great point. 1-0, soft swing from Briggs, but it works. Didn't swing particularly hard, just placed that ball into shallow left center field and moves Lamb over to second and puts himself on first.
Back-to-back great approaches. Both Lamb and Briggs hitting it up the middle. Lamb's was definitely sharper and more of a line drive, but Briggs still great approach and great job bringing his hands in, is able to get to center field. Rush is a really tough pitcher to face if you're a lefty batter, but back-to-back hits from lefty batters, and another one at the dish in Max Ross.
Max Ross was hit by a pitch in the first inning, kind of saw it off. This is also going to be a tough play, and this is also going to get down. Loads the bases as Andrew Lamb gets the stop sign. The Bucs not hitting the ball the hardest, but they're finding spots.
Yeah, besides Lamb's single to start the inning, both Briggs and Max Ross, both a little bit of blue hits, Ross more so than Briggs, but I love the approach from these Bucs batters because, Will, like I said, it's really tough with a lefty pitcher and Braden Rush throwing those breaking balls. So a lot of times you're going to have weird, uncomfortable, and sometimes ugly swings. But sometimes ugly swings, you hit it the opposite way and you find that Bermuda Triangle.
So now Brett Castillo, and his swing in the first inning definitely wasn't ugly. He did hit the ball sharply to center field, scoring 2 runs. But you talked about it with these batting averages in the league so low. A lot of it is if you can place those blue hits. Looked like a changeup from Rush that time. Not sure that we've really seen much of any of those from him so far today.
Yeah, well, with the lack of righty batters still in the order, I would say, for the Bucs, that's a good pitch to use, and I think it's a dangerous pitch to use against lefty batters. Because if you don't bury it enough, that's a low and in pitch, and a lot of guys can golf that out.
Castillo 0-2 with the bases loaded, now 1-2. Castillo came up with the bases loaded in the first inning. Hit a single to give the Bucs runs 2 and 3. Scoring Brody Briggs and Cole Carlone. Check swing, didn't go. Pitch looks pretty good, but apparently not.
Not sure where that missed, but the Bucs get a big break here. And it's really important that the Bucs score some runs, not because it's bases loaded and just 1 out, but you just don't want those 3 runs being the only runs you put up for a large majority of this game. And Will, to remind the people back at home, it's a 7-inning game. You're almost halfway through.
Testing the opposite way, that's going to go out of play, foul. But yeah, we saw that as a trend pretty often for the Bucs, where they'd score in the first and that would be it. And then yesterday, not scoring until the 8th inning, and unless things go to extras, there is no 8th inning today. So would love to see some in between. 2-2, good job by Castillo. Fell behind 0-2 and has worked this count back full.
Love it, and seems like he's always up when runners are on. I remind you, 3 base hits. He has 6 RBIs.
Looking for 7, maybe 8. First he calls time. Lamb's at third, Briggs is at second, Ross is at first. 1 away in the top of the third. 5 hits already for the Bucs, and with just 1 hit before the 8th inning in the last game a couple of days ago. Boy, is that a welcoming sign.
Yeah, and to remind you, Castillo only has 7 walks, which is a lot with just 15 at-bats, or 16 at-bats now.
3 balls, 2 strikes, and he takes it inside for ball 4. Add to that RBI total and add to the total for the Bucs. It's 4-1.
Yeah, and add to that walk total. 8 walks now and 16 at-bats. That's almost half the time he's getting up to the plate. He's walking, or the other half, it seems like he's getting a base hit and scoring in runs, bringing in runs, excuse me. That's another RBI. That's 7 RBIs for him and just 3 base hits.
So now Rob Vandergrift, the new Buck, with the bases still loaded and the Bucs still looking to add on. Briggs at third, Ross at second, Castillo at first, and Rush's 60th pitch is way too far outside.
Love to just keep adding on. A 7-inning game, you just want to give Arnett a big padding here, especially after a little bit of a rocky first inning or second inning.
Swings and hits it hard out to right field. Jack Dorn is there. Brody Briggs is coming home from third. Here comes the throw, and it's going to be cut off by Jake Dodge. An RBI for Vandergrift and another run for the Bucs on a sac fly. It's 5-1 here in the top of the third.
Great job by Vandergrift. Gets the ball in the air and just does his job. Love to see that. And obviously still awaiting his first hit of ABL play, but first RBI in many instances, Will, is way more important.
Definitely gets your support from your teammates if you can make a play like that. So now Will Burns hit the ball hard his last time up, unlucky with the line out to left field. First pitch was a ball, and now the second, Burns looked like he was trying to replicate what happened last time.
Yeah, sure was, and still 2 runners on, and I'd love to see Burns get rewarded after some really hard hit balls that turned into outs.
Strike called. Looked a bit inside from here, but Rush gets the call, and now Bucs down to their last strike in this inning. Have already scored 2, though. As Briggs stays alive.
And Arnett's got to feel good now. After giving up that 1 run, he probably feels more locked in. It wasn't a huge inning at all for the Pilots, just a couple of big base hits, and even that one in center field, Ross almost was able to get to it, but Arnett should feel really good now with a 4-run lead.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And just staying alive, Will Burns really looked like he had given up on that pitch. It was the breaker and started to come back towards the zone, and a super late decision to swing, and luckily, because that was coming in for a strike.
Yeah, great job by Burns. At the last moment, just takes that ball away from Bo Rico's glove.
Stays alive again. 3 straight foul balls from Will Burns. Staying on these pitches from Rush, making him work. Like we said, second consecutive day with a doubleheader for these Pilots, and the Bucs have already forced their starter to throw 67 pitches, and he has yet to complete the 3rd inning. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, with 2 on here for the Bucs and 2 plated already in the 3rd, and sound like a broken record, but Will Burns fouls it off.
Yep, love to hear that broken record from the Bucs. Just fighting here, get that pitch count up for Rush. Pilots did a really good job managing their pitching staff yesterday despite the 2 losses. Wouldn't be surprised if they let Rush go as long as they can let him.
1-2 high in the air to center field. Luke Stolga has a read on it, pats his glove, and secures the baseball. The Bucs add on 2 more here in the 3rd, leading it 5-1 as Arnett gets back on the mound. Bo Rico to the plate to face Jeremiah Arnett in the bottom of the third inning. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Massey bringing you Game 3 of the Mayor's Cup, Game 1 of this doubleheader on a Friday afternoon at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage. And Rico, the catcher, the 9-hole hitter, leading off the third inning for the Pilots. To remind you, just 7 innings for each of these games of the doubleheader. So he swings and fouls off the first pitches, and his knees got to be tired. He's been in that crouch for a good majority of this game. The Bucs have been at the plate far more than the Pilots.
Yeah, and Rico definitely started at least one full game yesterday.
Hits one to center, not too hard, and Ross has time to come in and make the play for a 2-pitch first out.
And eerily similar already to that first inning where he got the almost immediate fly out. Would just love to see the same from Arnett. Another 1-2-3 inning after just a little bit of a hiccup last inning. Gave up those 3 hits, 2 extra base hits, which is something we're not used to from Arnett. But love to see him still filling up the zone and still throwing competitive pitches. Big thing is he does not walk a lot of guys.
Marks takes a strike. Doesn't walk a lot of guys at all. Just 5 walks in 23 innings coming into play today. And now ahead 0-2.
Yep, and I think you and me will both take the 3 base hits as opposed to maybe 1 base hit and 2 walks.
100%.
Especially in a 7-inning game where I want to see Arnett go at least maybe 5, even 6 innings if we can get lucky.
Not only does it keep your pitch count down, but when you walk guys, you feel like you're gifting runs. If they're getting hits, they're at least earning it, and you definitely want to make an offense earn it that's struggled so much lately and honestly throughout a lot of the season. And that time it looked like Jeremiah Arnett earned a strikeout. Dylan Marks check swing. He went around. There's strikeout number 2 for Arnett, and out number 2 in the third.
Yep, love to see it. Just mix in those strikeouts here and there. Of course, he's always going for the quickest and easiest out, but love to see him mixing in those strikeouts. Show these Pilots batters that he's still dominant and still getting most of them out. Just struggle with the bottom half of the order, which is interesting because that bottom half of the order, Dodge, Coes, and Dorn have all batted towards the top at some point this summer.
Called strike to Hefner. Yeah, a lot of lineup changes for the Pilots throughout the summer, similar to what we see from the Bucs. The Oilers really the team on the opposite end of the spectrum, using basically the same lineup at the top every day. No balls and 1 strike, and this one's in play on the left side. Could be another chance for Will Burns in the outfield. The shortstop goes back to the grass and makes the play. Second 1-2-3 inning and 3 innings for Jeremiah Arnett. Bucs lead it 5-1 through 3. Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium, cruising right along in Game 1 of this doubleheader. Here in the top of the 4th inning, Josh Hankins to lead things off, the leadoff hitter for the Bucs. Still Rush out there for the Pilots. His first pitch is inside.
Would not be surprised to see Rush go 5-6 innings, and even if he gives up more than 5 runs, I think the Pilots are really going to try to be careful with how many pitchers they use, even though they used 3 in last night's doubleheader. I still think that with a lot of games coming up for the Pilots, they're just going to be really careful with how they manage their pitching staff, especially with the lighter pitching staff in general compared to some other teams.
Yep, definitely not the most pitchers on their roster like we noticed pretty early in the season. And they actually changed that leadoff play for Hankins to start this game to an error in the official scoring system.
Yeah, it is the right call, I think. I don't know for sure just because I didn't see it, but it sounded like Dorn got a piece of leather on him too, right?
Yeah, just barely, I believe. Because there's a called strike. And Hankins earns his walk.
Great
so
way
he
to start.
reaches base for the second time today. Yeah, like you said, great way to start.
Anchorage Bucs, number 23, Cole Garland.
And 4 left on base. Love to see the Bucs just do a better job later in this game of getting all their runs off of the base pass and then to score.
As Carlone, definitely a good guy to help guys come around and score. Tied for the team lead in runs batted in. One ball, no strikes. Carlone fouls it off. See some discussion in the comment section about some of the scoring. The Pilots responsible for scoring this one, so we'll have a chat with them. Try to get everything fixed up. As Carlone hits this one a mile high. Looks like it'll be Dylan Marks or Jake Dodge, and in the end, it's the first baseman for the first out.
Batting next for the Bucs, number 8, Andrew Lamb.
So now Andrew Lamb to the plate. He's singled and scored. And he takes a beautiful strike from Braden Rush. Breaking ball in the front door.
Rush is still locating pretty well during some at-bats, just running into better at-bats from these Bucs batters who are putting really good barrels on it. And some even not that good. Lamb's is a really good barrel, but Briggs and Max Ross had 2 blue pits that just went up the middle.
Too high and inside from Braden Rush.
Just the 1 base hit in the first, that was Castillo, but that brought in 2 runs. So I'd say 2 out of the 4 base hits for the Bucs have been hard hit balls. Rush has still done a really good job.
For Rush, like you said though, the walks and hit by pitches, we talked about it coming in, something he struggled with, especially against these Bucs. And if you gift the Bucs first base, they are certainly going to make you pay. We found that out pretty early this season, and it's continued to be the case. You don't have to gift the Bucs base runners for them to score, but if you do, then they definitely are going to score. Rush over 80 pitches now. 1 ball, 2 strikes with Hankins dancing around at first. He goes for second on the strikeout, and he's going to be in there safely, now headed for third, except he'll think better of it. So a swing and a miss strikeout from Andrew Lamb, but Hankins does get over to second on the stolen base, his 3rd stolen base of the game.
Yeah, great job, and not sure if that ball was hittable from Lamb, but wish he didn't protect Hankins, because Hankins is still pretty fast, and I would have liked to think that he'd have that bag stolen either way. And of course, don't love trading an extra base for another out, especially the second out of this game, or a second out of this inning, but hopefully Eisenstadt will get the job done here.
Would love to see that be the case for Tommy Eisenstadt. Looking to get in on the RBI party.
And Briggs did fly out last inning. It says he singled on the online, or
Other way around.
Or other way around, yeah, excuse me. So we'll get that fixed up.
2-0 to the Bucs first baseman.
Briggs was the one that had that base hit right after Eisenstadt.
2 balls, no strikes, and 2 outs with Hankins at second base. And Eisenstadt grounds this to his counterpart, Jake Dodge, at first, who takes it himself. No runs for the Bucs in the top of the fourth, leading it 5-1 as we head to the bottom. Bottom of the fourth inning, Bucs leading by 4 runs in this Friday doubleheader, game 1. Jeremiah Arnett staying out for his 4th inning of work, has only thrown 35 pitches through 3 innings.
Yeah, he's been super efficient. I love to see that. Even with that 1 run given up back in the 2nd inning, still been really efficient.
Starts Luke Stolga off with a strike and just been pounding the zone. 9 balls and 27 strikes. Incredible stuff from the reliever. Misses this time. One ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. Stolga coming up empty on a pitch on the outer part of the plate, maybe a couple inches off the plate. And now Arnett in a great spot, 1-2, looking perhaps for strikeout number 3. And he almost had it. Foul tip from Stolga, and that ball in and out of Brody Briggs' mitt.
Yeah, and thought he had that one. Briggs usually really good at sticking in. That one, I think, just got a little bit more than a sliver on that baseball, and that's why.
Another 1-2. And there's the strikeout. Jeremiah Arnett goes with the off-speed, had Luke Stolga fooled, and there's the first out of the bottom of the 4th.
And that was a slow breaker from Arnett, almost like, here's what I'm going to throw, see if you can hit it. And, well, Stolga just could not. Missed every stitch of it, but for Arnett, that was just a great pitch. And I think that was one of the at-bats where he was just totally dominating.
Stolga, the 3rd strikeout victim. Now Junior Barajas, who was Arnett's 1st strikeout victim. That was to lead off the 2nd inning. He ropes this one down the right field line, foul.
Looks like Adam Inyard has grabbed a ball and started tossing in the bullpen just very lightly. So for now, it's Arnett's game for sure.
Only 42 pitches. 1 ball, 1 strike. Make that 1 ball, 2 strikes.
42, 43 pitches right now. Obviously very efficient, very good, but will remind you that he's only pitched 45. That is his max that he's gone, and that was all the way back in June. Did creep up, almost hit 40 in his last time out. That was also 3 innings. But by me just saying that does not mean that 45 is his total max, and that he hasn't gone past that at all.
2-2. Breaking ball hit softly into left field, and that's going to get down in front of Brett Castillo and bounce away from him. Barajas rounding first. He's headed for second, and the throw hits Rob Vandegrift in the chest, and it's a double for Barajas and a ball that was not hit particularly hard.
Yeah, just super unlucky. Nothing Castillo could do about that. Hankins as well. That one just right in no man's land, and a good drop by Castillo, barehanding it. Almost had a play at second base. Barajas just obviously running hard out of the box. You're not going to get anyone running to second base on that type of hit. So good job by Castillo getting to the ball fast. Just unfortunate there's only one out.
Yeah, that bounce off the grass straight towards the foul line, away from Castillo instead of towards him. Another chance for Castillo. This one much more conventional, and he has no problems with it. One pitch retires Chase Knight.
And that's what Arnett needs to do. After those base hits, he needs to come back with a really competitive pitch and try to get something in play and try to get a quick out. And that's exactly what he did there. The back-to-back-to-back hits in the second inning, just had trouble retiring those Pilots batters and was lucky to get a good throw from Castillo to Burns all the way to home plate to get him out of that inning. But just wonder if he would have been able to retire Bo Rico if he had come up in the second.
Now Jake Dodge. And you talked about that second inning. Dodge had that first base hit with 2 outs. He came around to score the Pilots' lone run to this point. And not a great swing at that one.
Not at all. And for Arnett, like I said, it was really important that last at-bat to Chase Knight. Just the one pitch took care of him because, like I said, was not able to get out of that second inning on his own after giving up those 3 base hits. Of course, could have gotten Bo Rico and it all been fine, but you just never know. And another big swing and miss from Jake Dodge, so maybe he's really finding his zone and probably a little frustrated now after that double by Junior Brasas. Of course, I would be, but it wasn't hit very hard.
Dodge with a big swing at a pitch up in the zone, a big swing at a pitch down in the zone. See what Arnett does here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Goes inside and just an inch or 2 away from getting strike 3 called.
Yeah, really good pitch by Arnett. Just didn't get the call that he wanted. Still just 1 pitch away.
Deuces Wild here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Just 7 innings for these doubleheader games. Here comes the 2-2. Soft grounder and a chance for Eisenstadt, who gloves it in foul territory, says the first base umpire.
Oh, and Eisenstadt was charging and just unable to get it in fair territory. It took really just 1 bounce in fair play, and then it just dipped out of bounds. And unfortunate for the Bucs, and Arnett going to have to throw another pitch, and hopefully it's just the 1 more.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. We do it again with Barajas at second base. Bucs leading it 5-1. The pitch from Arnett swung on and missed. Strikeout number 4 for Arnett. Gets Dodge for the first time, and the Bucs keep that 5-1 lead headed to the 5th inning. Welcome back for the top of the 5th inning. Owen Hayes on to pitch for the Pilots. He pitched yesterday, but first, how has he done so far all season, Vic?
For Owen Hayes, looking at his total season, Oh, now I'm having trouble finding Owen Hayes on here.
Oh, excuse me. I
I think
realized
this
he
is
didn't.
his first outing.
Yeah, I was mistaken in saying that he pitched yesterday. He actually hit yesterday, as he has in all 10 games that he's played, batting under 100. And I
I
didn't realize this is his first time pitching.
I think that I don't want to say they're conceding this game, Will, but in a sense, it looks like they are.
Kind of are. He goes with the submarine style and gets a strike on the bottom part of the zone. A little shake of the head from Brody Briggs. But yeah, Owen Hayes, 10 games played, all of them as a hitter. So this is the first time that we've seen him pitching in the ABL.
Well, I was about to make up some stats about him, but I guess I'm glad I didn't because he hasn't pitched at all. And I would like to think that the Pilots wanted to get one more inning out of Rush and just may have left the 6 and 7 for someone else. And I don't know if Owen Hayes is on the docket.
This
he is
time
now.
he goes over the top with the delivery and with no better success.
Yeah. And like I was saying, he wasn't on the docket, maybe, but maybe he always was, and just not sure. And I think the Pilots realizing that 5-1 game, Arnett is absolutely cruising. You got a Bucs team that keeps hitting and has put up 3 runs in the first, 2 runs in the third, and maybe the Pilots are thinking, well, if we keep Rush out there, we bring someone else in, we probably won't come back off of Arnett. I don't know what the reason really is.
Outside to Ross. Yeah, 85 pitches for Rush, so kind of in that in-between area of whether he could go more or not.
I think it's a right decision. Maybe he gets into trouble and maybe he gets only 1 or 2 outs, or maybe he ends the inning but goes close to 100 pitches, and maybe that's an extra day off for him. Maybe now he can go a day earlier than maybe if he had pitched 20 more pitches, not sure. I think it's the right decision the Pilots made, and guessing that they just don't really have a lot of arms in the bullpen, but I'm kind of wondering why, because they only pitched 3 guys yesterday.
Yeah, same here. I would totally understand it if they had to go through 6, 7 pitches
Right.
in the doubleheader yesterday, but only threw 3 guys. Still, we know for all teams with some rain in the last couple of weeks, this is a very congested part of the season, so maybe still having an eye on that. And like you said, maybe kind of throwing in the towel. An offense that's been sputtering, seeing a 4-run deficit is too much. This one's going to stay in the infield. A chance for Luke Hefner right behind second base, and Max Ross flies out for the first out. And we've been talking about the Bucs trying to get that top 2 seed, and the magic number for that is 3. That's a win decreases it by 1, or an Oilers loss decreases it by 1. But the Pilots are also on magic number watch. Their magic number to clinch the playoffs is 4, and that's either a win for them or a loss for the Chinooks. So every game important for them, and maybe thinking to themselves, done with this one and on to game 2 later today. Definitely an interesting decision, though. Still with a few innings to play, as this is going to roll foul.
And Yart's still warming up for the Bucs, and I'm wondering why he's warming up so early. I guess I shouldn't say I'm wondering why. We're already in the 5th inning, so with Arnett throwing just above his maximum pitches he's already thrown this summer, maybe it's good to put in Yard, who hasn't thrown in a little while and has probably got a lot left in the gas tank.
1 hop to Hefner. He goes to second for 1. The throw from Marks to first gets the job done as Brett Castillo grounds into an inning-ending double play. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning, still 5-1. Good guys. Bottom of the fifth inning, Jeremiah Arnett's day is done. Did a fantastic job allowing just the one run across his 4 innings of work. He hands the ball over to Adam Enyart.
Yeah, Enyard has been used a lot more as of late for the Bucks, pitching wise, but also have seen his bat in the lineup a good bit as well. But for pitching, he's had 8 appearances. This will be his ninth. He's saved 2 games for this Bucks team, 10 and 2/3 innings, 5 hits given up, just the 2 earned runs, 1.69. We say this a lot about a lot of Bucks pitchers, but as of late, it seems like every time he goes out there, that ERA just keeps going down bit by bit. And he's looked really good in later situations, and tonight or today, excuse me, is not a super late situation, but we are in the 5th inning of a 7 inning ball game. Will.
Yeah, we saw him pitch later in the game, not the ninth, seventh or the eighth on Monday. 1 inning, 1 hit in 1 strikeout in that 2-0 win against the Oilers. He's pitched against the Pilots once in league play, had a scoreless inning that time out as he gets a swing and a miss from Coase. Also pitched in that July 4th game, worked the 5th inning scoreless, and then put those runners on first and third before Jeremiah Arnett was able to clean things up, and he gets a nasty swing out of Coase.
Yeah, totally sorted him there, is what they're saying now. But just an ugly swing at a Coase, couldn't hold it up, and he went totally around. And for Arnett, 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks. And I will say, no walks and the 4 hits, he's a guy that will give up his fair share of base hits in games, but the earned runs speak for themselves.
Yep, they just struggle to come around and score with him out there.
Yep, and now for Arnett, looking at his totals, that's 28 hits given up in now 27 innings.
Yep, and not a lot of runs, just 7 earned runs, I believe, as Rob Vandergrift makes the play for the second out. I guess now 8 earned runs, counting today, coming into play
Right.
with 7. Right.
So ERA is still going to go down just a tad bit for Arnett, but like I said, he will trade those a couple extra base hits for the limited amount of walks he gives up.
Enyart looking for a 1-2-3. There's a good start against Rico.
Yeah, Enyard is just very poised out there. Just good pacing, good timing for everything, and it seems very comfortable. It's hard, being that he's also a hitter too, and a good one at that.
Another nasty swing and a miss. That looked like the sword we saw from Coase to start this inning.
It's funny because Enyard always looks very serious and always, like I said, poised out there. And when you meet him in general, he's a very goofy type of guy.
He is definitely. Pitch was just a little high for Rico's liking and the liking of the home plate umpire. Still in a great spot. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch from Enyart too low. So now deuces are wild in the bottom of the 5th. Bucks with a 4-run lead over the rival Pilots, looking for their 3rd ever 3-game sweep in this Mayor's Cup. Grounder up the middle off the mound, and that'll be a base hit for Bo Rico, and no 1-2-3 for Enyart.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate, but haven't seen the 1-2-3 since back in the 3rd. But the ability also, just one more pitch and you're out of this inning. So take a page out of Arnett's book and see how you can work around a 1-out, 2-out base hit.
Dylan Marks coming to the plate now, and took just 4 pitches for him to be retired in the 1st inning. Then struck out his last time to the plate. Rico at first, Marks at the plate. Just a few innings to go in this game 1, 7 inning in this doubleheader. Another chance for Vandergrift. Scoops it up, makes the short throw, and Rico is left stranded. A scoreless inning for Adam Enyart. We'll see if he comes back out in the 6th, but first the Bucks look to add on some more runs. Top of the 6th inning. Owen Hayes still out there for the Pilots, and things looked a little bit shaky against Brody Briggs, but really got things back together after that.
Yeah. And we'll see what he has in store now. The Bucs, why not add a couple more runs?
Rob Vandergrift steps in. He takes a strike, made a couple plays in the field at second base in the bottom of the 5th inning. Listed on your screen as 0 for 2, but we'll talk to the scores. Make sure that one of those flyouts gets changed to a sac fly as he brought in Andrew Lamb. So really 0 for 1 for Vandergrift, joining the team just this week. And it's crazy. Hayes is really switching back and forth between sidearm and over the top. Got to throw you off a little bit as a hitter.
Definitely.
This time he goes over the top. Vandergrift tomahawks it into left field. Really got on top of that one for a single.
Yep, first base hit an ABL play, and even though it's against a position player, still got to feel really good to get that. Get that off your chest a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely. Already picked up an RBI, and like you said, that can really be a spark for things to come, and maybe that confidence helping him there with the leadoff single. So now Will Burns, who shows bunt, lines it foul.
What I will say about Hayes is even though he switches between sidearm and over the top, it is fairly obvious when he is going over the top, and I think Vandergrift read that really well and was able to get the base hit.
No balls and a strike to the Bucs shortstop before it's back to the top with the third baseman, Josh Hankins. Hankins has been playing some really good ball lately, continuing into today. Just wreaks havoc on the base paths. 1-1 behind Will Burns, and he's actually a little bit lucky it didn't hit his bat.
Exactly. Didn't bring that bat down at all. He was very lucky it wasn't a foul ball.
Came super close to hitting his barrel. Luckily it didn't, so 2 balls and a strike with Vandergrift at first. Bucs looking to add on to a 5-1 lead in game 1 of this doubleheader. Would love to see a big inning from the Bucs and really crush any hopes that the Pilots had a super close play over there. Almost caught Vandergrift leaning.
Yeah, Hayes really wanted it. Unfortunately, just not going to get the call.
Smiling ear to ear. Obviously coming in as a position player to pitch. Not always thinking that you're going to get a pickoff chance. Probably would have felt pretty good had he landed it.
One out through the bases.
And if you're Vandergrift, can't get picked off by a position player.
Nah. Not the best look at all. Definitely taking a step closer towards first.
He's going here as Burns fouls it off. Looked like maybe a hit and run, not the earliest jump from Vandergrift. See what the Bucs have in store with another 3-2 pitch coming. 20 pitches so far for Hayes. Vandergrift stays put. Burns squares it up to left center field. Luke Stolga is sprinting back because that ball is over his diving head. Vandergrift is going to get the wave around third. He's going to come home. Will Burns is going to get a stop sign at third. There was questions if that was even going to be the case, but it's a triple for him, and the Bucs add on another run at 6-1.
Yeah, that ball was pulverized. Hayes left him a cookie over the plate, and Stolga, talk about giving it your best effort. Absolutely lays out, tries to make a Willie Mays type grab, and is lucky that Will Burns isn't like Ellie De La Cruz in the MLB, and that would have been an inside the park home run if that was the case. But Will Burns is very quick, and trust me, Stolga hadn't gotten there in time and fired a strike, would have been an inside the parker for Will Burns.
And Burns definitely deserves it. Squared the ball up his first at-bat. Was unlucky to fly out just shy of the track. Picks up a big RBI triple. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, really hope it is too, and even though it's off of a position player, just hoping for Burns that contact is really engraved into his mind of what that, and I'm not trying to say what that used to feel like. Obviously he's hit the balls really hard in his slump that he's going through right now, but just feeling that ball coming off the bat as this one's hit well.
Yeah, it is hit well, caught in left by Coase. Burns is coming home and he scores with ease. It's a productive out for Josh Hankins, a sac fly.
Yeah, and going back to Burns, but like I said, hopefully he keeps that in his head, what it felt like, that triple, the ball barreling it up like that, and hopefully he can have that feeling again in a really big-time moment. Not that this isn't right here, right now, but heading into postseason ball against the Miners, there's going to be some really tough and important at-bats for Will Burns, especially if he moves up in the order to his normal spot.
So now Cole Carlone, and even if he doesn't move up, so
Right.
valuable for him to
Yeah.
set the table for the top of the order.
Yeah, I mean it's still really important that he gets that bat going again.
Carlone hits this one hard into the left center field gap. That gets down. He's rounding first as the ball goes almost all the way to the wall. He's looking for 3. He's headed that way, and he's going to be in there safely. Second triple of the inning for the Bucs.
How about that? One of the hardest things to do in baseball, and the Bucs making it look easy. And I love Burns and then now Carlone aiming for that left center field gap, the deepest part of the field, and Carlone never stopped running. He had triple in his head the whole time running out of that box, and he was rounding second base before that ball even hit the cutoff man. And once it did hit the cutoff man, he was already halfway towards third.
7-1, but the Bucs are looking for more. So Andrew Lamb digs in.
Save some for tomorrow.
Or game 2.
Sorry, game 2. That's what I was trying to say.
Mercy rule somewhat coming into possibility. Still a little bit of a ways to go for that. Although not sure if the rules are different in a 7-inning game. Would assume it'd still need to be 10 runs.
Yeah, and I would assume it's 10 after 5 instead of 10 after 7 for a 9-inning game.
It's been the 6th. Last chance for the Bucs, I guess, to get that 10-run lead. Would need 4 more here. Carlone is 90 feet away. Still just 1 out, so sac fly still in play for Andrew Lamb.
This is a guy who also is really good when it comes to extra base hits. Wouldn't be surprised if he tees off here.
Absolutely not. He mashes this one past Jake Dodge. Carlone comes home to score. It's a loud RBI single for Andrew Lamb. Now 8-1 with the 3rd run of the inning.
Yep, and a lot of guys with RBIs. Hankins, Lamb now with an RBI. Brett Castillo has 3 RBIs. When Rob Vandergrift picked up an RBI in that sac fly back in the 3rd inning. So a ton of guys coming through for the Bucs.
And when the Bucs are at their best, that's how things are going. It's the whole team chipping in, and that's definitely what we're seeing today. 8-1 now the score as Eisenstadt digs in. Looking for his first hit. 9 hits now for the Bucs.
5 guys with RBIs.
I like the rhyme there.
Yeah. Probably should be saying 5 players with RBIs.
Now you got me hungry for a burger from 5 guys. Pitch to Eisenstadt is outside, 2-0. And if you're Rich Price and the Pilots, you put a position player out there, you're kind of asking for this.
Yeah, especially against a Bucs team like this.
And you got to be careful giving the Bucs this much confidence, not only heading into Game 2, but heading into the last week of the season and a possible matchup between these two in the playoffs.
Yeah. Even though that Hayes is a position player, still a lot of confidence builds when you do this well.
Eisenstadt goes the other way with it. Another hit for the Bucs. Losing track. What is that? 6 hits in the inning? Or 5?
5, I believe.
5 hits in the inning. Hopefully 6 is coming here soon. In the form of Brody Breaks, the first man that Owen Hayes faced, and he was successful, was Brody Breaks with a single on the right side.
2 triples and 3 singles in this inning.
This one, a chance for Hayes. He goes to second for 1. The throw to first is in time. A beautiful double play for Hayes to put himself out of this 6th inning misery where the Bucs score 3 runs, increase the lead to 8-1 as we head to the home half. ready for the bottom of the 6th inning. Adam Enyart still out there for the Bucs after a super productive top half of this inning. A couple triples, 3 more hits to go along with it. And with that, 3 runs coming against Owen Hayes. 8-1 now. The Bucs lead it as Enyart will face the top portion of the order. First is Luke Hefner, who sprays it foul. Then it'll be Luke Stolga and then Junior Barajas.
We know that graphic says that the second game will start at 6:10 Alaska time, but with it being 5:30 here, we can probably assume that it will not start at 6:10 with a whole nother inning to play.
Probably around 40 minutes or so after the conclusion of game 1. Soft liner to Vandergrift, and there's the first out of the home half. But roughly 40 minutes or so, I'd say, after.
I'd say even less, honestly. I'd say around 30 minutes. I'd say they get it ready pretty quickly and ready to go.
We'll head down, and once we get the lineups, we'll talk to the coaches and see if they have an official start time. Tweet that out for you as soon as we know it, as Stolga comes up empty on an off-speed pitch from Enyart.
Yep, I'm definitely going to start the stream again as close as we can to 15 minutes before first pitch.
No balls and a strike to the center fielder. Foul tips it. Enyart looking for his second strikeout. Way out ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Here it is, and it's lined out to center field. Max Ross slipped, but wouldn't have mattered anyways.
Yeah, it must be a little slick out there in the outfield the past couple days. It was raining a lot before this game, so I would not be surprised. But like you said, it didn't matter.
Rained basically all day until about 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour before first pitch. But from the time I got up, at least, it was raining until, I'd say, around 3 o'clock. So now Barajas digs in. He doubled his last time to the plate. Grounds this one in an amazing stop by Enyart. To second for 1, into first for 2. It's a double play. Adam Enyart.
Did he just do that? Did he just behind the back
He did behind the back that ball. Unbelievable stuff. And that's what you get for putting a guy who also plays out in the field on the mound, an athlete and an athletic play for sure. Enyart to Burns to Eisenstadt. That's how the 6th inning ends. We head to the 7th. Bucs are cruising, everything going well here at Mulcahy Stadium. Another position player out there for the Pilots. It's Junior Barajas. We've seen him as a designated hitter a good amount of this season. Plays catcher. He faces Max Ross to start. And now it looks like the Pilots are really throwing in the towel.
Yeah, definitely. An 8-1 lead. Why not just try to throw someone in there to try to get some outs, and don't want to burn another pitcher. You don't have to.
Now 3-0 to Max Ross, and how about that play by Enyart to end the 6th?
Just amazing behind the back play. Didn't even have to look into his glove.
Barajas not pitching the fastest. Max Ross takes a strike. Let's see if he swings away with a big swing here. Instead, he takes another strike. Good disciplined approach, not trying to do too much with the position player out there. Owen Hayes was definitely throwing harder than Barajas is, though. Speeds it up a little bit, and that speed is something Max Ross takes advantage of, and he's about to showcase his. He rounds first, and he's headed for second, gets a double off of Junior Barajas. And, hey, maybe this pitching thing isn't as easy as these guys thought. Ball gets away. Not far enough for Ross to go any further, though.
And at a certain point, I wonder if Springman's going to tell him just roll over on something. Let's get game 2 going.
Castillo's been doing anything but rolling over. 3 RBIs, adding to his extremely impressive total when you consider how much playing time he's had. We've been harping on it throughout this one. The left fielder hasn't played a ton for the Bucs lately, but with his performance so far today, might be buying himself some more playing time, and we know some guys are going to be leaving this Bucs team soon, although they are infielders, so might not necessarily open up a ton of playing time in the outfield.
Well, it will move Callahan into the infield, I assume.
Yeah.
He'll have to probably play third base a lot more. I think that some other guys will move in to maybe help play second base, but Vandergrift now. So Castillo should get a lot of opportunities, and the Bucs really need to start playing him more to get him ramped up so that he can be ready to play game after game after game.
Definitely. And Enyart, another guy who we could see batting and in the field more. Hasn't had a lot of at-bats lately, part of that because he's just been so good as a pitcher. But another guy who can definitely play in the outfield, and looked like Barajas pulled the string on that one. I don't think Castillo was ready for it.
Yeah, sure did.
2 balls and 2 strikes with none away here in the final frame of Game 1 of this doubleheader. Game 3 of the Mayor's Cup. Castillo barrels it up into left field. Max Ross gets the stop sign, but the Bucs are in business with runners on the corners and nobody out in 7th.
Yeah, and it's just like batting practice out there. It's so easy for the Bucs. And Castillo almost too early on that baseball.
I mean, their eyes got to just light up seeing these meatballs basically over the plate.
Yeah.
Could understand why they'd be a little bit early. It's so tempting. Rob Vandegrift up. A good stop by Bo Rico with the speedy Max Ross just 90 feet away. Ross at third, Castillo at first. Bucs leading at 8-1. Up to 12 hits now in Game 3 of this Mayor's Cup. And Vandegrift waves and misses. A look at first. Another look at first, and now home. Too far outside. After Vandegrift, Will Burns. And then back to the top for the Bucs. Burns, then RBI triple last time to the plate. Came around to score on a Josh Hankins sac fly. Another barreled ball, another one into left field, and another run for the Bucs. It's another RBI for Vandegrift. Ross scores. It's 9-1.
Yeah, well, I think you and me both know how this game is probably going to end up, given that there's nobody out. The Bucs have had solid contact the first 3 batters at the plate. That's another base hit for Rob Vandegrift. Of course, both coming off of position players. Still got to feel really good.
That one's going to hit Will Burns.
Yeah. And now it's just one gapper, one big hit is going to do this game. Of course,
Well, wouldn't the Pilots still get an opportunity to hit?
yeah, I guess in the bottom half of the inning.
Yeah. Even
Well, no, because it's through 5 full innings. So it's honestly like a walk-off.
I think the home team still gets a chance. Josh Hankins hits this one hard to left, but it hangs up for Jacob Coase. It'll be a sac fly, though, as Brett Castillo comes home. 3rd sac fly for the Bucs today, and it's now 10 runs for the Buccos.
Another sac fly for Hankins. Getting those RBIs up a little bit.
Brings up Cole Carlone with still just 1 out. 2 Bucs aboard.
First RBI for Vandegrift, too, so good to see him bring in some runs.
He had one earlier in the game on a sac fly.
Oh, right. First RBI with a hit involved in it, too, I guess.
10 spot looks great on that scoreboard out there. Off position players or not, There's another hit by pitch. Barajas, the designated hitter and catcher, not with the best command, and luckily for the Bucs, not throwing too hard. Those hit by pitches won't hurt too bad. Lead loads the bases for Andrew Lamb, and Lamb more than capable of emptying the bases.
Oh, definitely. Just needs a cookie over the plate. Doesn't need much, really.
Vandergrift at third, Burns at second, Carlone at first. And if you give Lamb a cookie, he's probably going to hit it in the gap.
Looks like Eddie Torres grabbed a ball and started warming up in the bullpen, wondering if Inyart won't come out.
The ball's in a strike to Lamb, and he bounces this one over a leaping Barajas. Marks to second for one, and that's all the Pilots will get. Brings in Rob Vandergrift for run number 11 on the ground out from Lamb, or the fielder's choice, from Lamb.
It looks like we'll probably have to play that last inning out.
So Eisenstadt coming to the plate now. Bucs leading it by 10 runs. And that one almost hit him. It's behind him. And wisely, Lamb goes for second. So two in scoring position for the Bucs.
Like to see Eisenstadt pick up an RBI here.
Instead, he's going to get hit. It's the third hit by pitch for Barajas, and I understand he's not really injuring any of these Bucs, but at some point, he's got to be responsible for putting it over the plate. As the home plate umpire fakes tossing him, gives him a little pat on the behind, but at some point, even if he's not throwing hard, umpire's got to be like, hey, you got to straighten these out a little bit.
Yeah, easier said than done.
So now Briggs to the plate with the bases loaded.
That slow breaking ball.
Takes his first strike. Burns at third, Lamb at second, Eisenstadt at first. 3 runs for the second consecutive inning for the Bucs, but Brody Briggs a strike away from being Barajas' first victim. You know, none of these players want to go down that way. 0-2, way too far outside. Max Ross on deck, then Brett Castillo in the hole. Ross led off this inning, so Briggs the 9th Buck to the plate. Deuce is wild here in the top of the 7th inning. Bucs have all but ensured a sweep of the Mayor's Cup. Boy, does that sweep feel good.
Sure does. And it's probably what the Bucs, on paper, what the Bucs should have been expected to do with their successes against the Glacier Pilots this year.
Too far inside, and that means another run for the Bucs. Burns comes around to score on the Briggs walk. It's now 12-1 Bucs. Briggs picks up an RBI. And it looks like that will probably be it for Barajas. It isn't Rich Price going out there.
Maybe he's just going to talk to him. I don't really know what you would say.
Looks like someone's coming out of that bullpen in right field. We'll take a bit of a break, figure out who it is, and let you know when we come back. Bucs up 12-1 in the middle of the top of the 7th.
They might be waving him away.
Oh,
actually.
you are right. Not something you see every day.
Everyone waving him away, and I think that Jordan Brink there, as the pitching coach, is basically just saying that I don't really need him.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Marcus Sanders, another position player. Yeah, it was Marcus Sanders.
You know, he's probably itching to get out there.
If you're a position player and you're warming up, the last thing you want to do is not actually get a chance to pitch.
Exactly.
And it looks like, for now at least, Marcus Sanders being denied that opportunity. Max Ross facing Junior Barajas for a second time, and he gets hit by the pitch. Another run for the Bucs.
Yeah, I think Barajas staring down Ross, saying why'd he try to get out of the way of that.
He's asking for one more chance, and he's not going to get it. Now Barajas' day has done an early point to that right field bullpen. Lucky you, Marcus Sanders. You're getting your chance. Bucs leading at 13-1 as we step aside. Still in the top of the final frame. Bucks already played at 5 this inning and still looking to do some more damage with the bases loaded. Now Marcus Sanders, another position player on the mound.
Yep, has pitched in one game before, 1 inning, 4 hits, 4 earned runs. So definitely looking to get this quick out here.
Starts Castillo with a strike. Been a great day for Castillo.
Yeah, he's definitely earned more playing time, and he didn't even have to earn it because he's going to get it either way with all the guys leaving and some of the injuries too. So Castillo's going to get opportunities either way, and he has really made it worth it.
And for Castillo, 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Just a really good job. Check swing, doesn't matter. Home plate umpire calls a strike.
Yeah, and the only thing wrong with how long this game is going is just might be a longer day in general at the ballpark for the Bucks.
They should be having a good time though. 13 runs on 13 hits. But a swing and a miss. Marcus Sanders strikes out Castillo to end the top of the 7th inning. But the Bucks did plate 5, increasing that lead to 12 runs. Adam Menyard or maybe Eddie Torres will look to finish things up when we come back. Bottom of the 7th inning, Eddie Torres on to finish things up for the Bucks and finish up this Mayor's Cup. Bucks leading at 13-1 now as he looks to close things out.
Yeah, and for Torres, new addition to this Bucks team, has just had 2 appearances, 1 total inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run. But of course, that last outing much better than the first one where he just couldn't get an out.
Yeah, it certainly was just a few days ago on Tuesday. As unfortunately, Torres is greeted with a base hit off the bat of Chase Knight. But looking towards Torres' last time out, that was on Tuesday in the 6-0 win over the Chinooks. And he worked the 8th inning that day, 1 hit and 1 strikeout in an otherwise clean 8th inning. Much better than his first time out.
Yeah, struggled against the Miners, who looked really good as of late, even those bats.
10-game win streak. A liner to first. That's a double play. Tommy Eisenstadt gloves it and taps first base with that glove. And whatever happened to that Chase Knight hit?
Then totally erased, and now a chance to face the minimum and get out with a 1-2-3 inning. Perfect job. Nothing you could do about it if you're Chase Knight either.
Absolutely not. So now Jacob Coes. He takes one outside. Both of the first pitches from Torres. The first two guys put in play, one hit and one double play. So now just 3 pitches after the ball to Coes. And he has a chance to finish this, does Torres. Calmly gloves it and makes the throw. The Bucs win 13-1. It's a sweep in the Mayor's Cup for just the 3rd time in a 3-game set since this series started in 1990. And boy, does that feel good heading into game 2.
Yeah, the Bucs have got to feel really good about both facets. The pitching still looks really sharp. Arnett gave you what you needed out of him, just the 1 earned run, and he just looked fantastic and not in his normal position. We're not position meaning position on the field, but in his position coming out into the game, usually comes in as a reliever, middle reliever, sometimes for longer relief, 2 to 3 innings, and sometimes just to get that one out deep into the games, but has not started the game so far in this summer, and just did a really good job against the Pilots team, yes, who is struggling, but still had the ability to give him some extra base hits and put some traffic on the base pass and make him feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think for Arnett, he did a really good job of working around the 4 base hits he gave up, and that's what he does all the time. When he comes out, yes, he's going to give up a couple base hits, but he trades those for no outs or no walks, or just a couple of walks here and there. So good job by Arnett, and the bats finally coming to life today and really taking advantage of 2 position players on the mound. I think that is huge for this offense.
Hopefully it feeds into game 2. Like you said, the bats coming alive. 13 runs on 13 hits, no errors, and 9 left for the Bucs. 1 run, 7 hits, 1 error, and 3 left for the Pilots. The Bucs improve to 22-10, while the Pilots fall to 13-21. That's all for game 1. We'll be back in 30 minutes or so. We'll make sure to check social media for the official start time of game 2. But for now, Will Hopkins and Vic Massia. We'll see you in just a little bit.